Page 135, In Baghdad. On page 134, they're introducing you to a real mess. Let's take a look at this. Minor scales. There's all kinds of scales out there. We've been using major scales. Well, now they're introducing minor scales. And I don't get into the other kinds of scales. I just stick with majors and minors. You can get into the others. There's jazz scales and blues scales and all kinds of other little scales that you go nuts with them. There's about 1,500 different scales. I just do the majors and minors. The scale videos I have all of them in there. But they're introducing you to minor. Let's look at it. What's a scale? It's a set pattern of half steps and whole steps. Remember that? Let's go back to C major because it just uses the white keys on the piano. And it's easy to see the pattern because you have a whole step. There's a black key involved. There's a whole step. Whole step, whole step, half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's the pattern for a major scale, any major scale. A minor scale simply has a different pattern. And the relative minor is the minor scale with the same key signature. It's related by key signature. So the minor scale that has only white keys is A minor here. And so you can see the pattern using A minor. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, A minor. Use that pattern on any key and you'll get a minor scale. Just to make things interesting, not really, but somebody did, so here we go. This minor, any minor, when you're using all the notes according to the key signature, that is no sharps or flats in this case, is called the natural minor. That's the natural one. Okay, makes sense, I guess. Well, there's two other kinds of minors. The one we use the most is called the harmonic minor. And that is where we take the seventh step of the scale. Remember, the seventh is just one less than eighth. So in A minor, it'd be the G. We take that step and we raise it up a half step. So instead of a G, we'd do a G sharp. So that's it. That sounds lovely, don't it? That is the natural, or the harmonic minor, excuse me. The natural minor is according to the key signature. The harmonic just raises the seventh step. So it's that. It's the harmonic minor I cover in my scale videos because that's the one we use the most. That's the one you really need to be familiar with. That's the one you're going to see in music a lot. That explains why you get these G sharps in the music. They're using the harmonic minor. The other minor is called the melodic minor. We don't really study it or whatever. You'll see it in music, but if you can do the harmonic minor, don't worry about it. You got it covered. With the melodic minor, it depends on whether you're going up or down as to what you play. So if you're going up, you raise the sixth and seventh steps. So here it'd be here. That's the melodic minor going up. And then when you go down, you play the natural minor. So it depends on which way you're going. That's the melodic minor. Again, don't worry about it. If you're into composing, arranging, maybe you might want to use the melodic minor. It's used somewhat. But the harmonic minor is really the one we want. So now, when you go to the scale video, you need to do the major scale and its related minor scale. So here, you're going to do the C major scale. Well, now also go do the A minor scale. I got a video on that too. You do what I tell you in the video. One octave up and down. So now you got to do the two scales each time. It's important. They show the primary chords for it. It's the 1, 4, and the 5, 7. It's the same number. It doesn't matter if it's major or minor or what the scale is. So an A minor here. One chord is here. Remember, there's no sharps or flats except the seventh. We're going to sharp that here. And then the 4 chord, well, remember the 4 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the A on the bottom, and you get that. Okay, and And then the 5/7 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Except we're going to use the harmonic minor, and that has a G sharp in it. We're going to use that. And then the 7th. So the whole 7th, the 7th is there. And then we put the G sharp on the bottom. We don't use the D and like that. Or you take the one chord where you're at, and the little finger comes down a half step, and you take the top 2. It's the same pattern as in all of them. You just that's the primary chords. You'll get used to them after a while. A few hundred years or so, you'll get used to them. But yeah, it's just when you recognize these things in the music, it makes playing it and reading music a little easier. Now let's talk Baghdad stuff. 4 lines long, treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signature, but now we can't just assume it's C major anymore. Because now they've got minors, so you say, okay, it's C major or A minor, and you have to look a little deeper to which one is it. Well, most of the time, not always, most of the time it'll end on its 1 chord. So you look at the last measure or 2. You're here. So ending on A's, we're guessing this is A minor. So we'll figure it's A minor. The minor sounds different than the major, because the majors and the minors here, they sound different. And you can tell by listening to it whether it's a minor key or a major key, which it is. So let's take this one hand at a time, make sure we got the notes and all. For the most part, in the right hand is the scale. Now, if you see the last measure of the 3rd line in the right hand, you have that. That's 2 ledger lines below the staff. You need to know that note. It's an A, because middle C is 1 ledger line, and this is another ledger line. It's every other note. Just note that's an A. You get it the last line also. Second line where the right hand plays, you're down here. It's the scale. It's just the scale. So once you can do the scale, you sight read this stuff. And then during the rest, they want you to come down. I disagree. I'm going to stay here. I see no reason to move here. So just stay there. Use thumb. Then at the end of the line, you come back down and do that again. And then in this 3rd line down, 3rd measure, during the now you can come down. See, I don't want to move my hand if I don't have to. And that's why on the 2nd line I stayed where I was, because I didn't need to move. And the last line, you get most of the scale going down. It is the scale, just rearranged a little bit. Left hand, well, you're starting out with a scale, sort of. You got most of it. And it is a G sharp, and that feels weird. Tough. Just do it. Here, you work on the scale and the stuff I tell you in the scale with the trill exercise and the wrist and the accents, and you'll get this. And then the 1 in. Pretty much what the left hand does until the end. You see the 8 VA under the last 2 notes? So you just go down an octave here. If you have a short keyboard, you don't have the note, play the lowest A you got. It's close enough. So put the hands together. Well, start with the 2nd line when they are together. You're here. Right there. When I play the G sharp, the left hand comes up. It has a rest. The right hand has a rest, lift up. And here, I am using thumb on both. I don't really need to. I could use 2nd finger, but I'll go ahead and just use the thumb. That's fine. Get the idea. Now on the 3rd line down in the 3rd measure, it's like that 5/7 chord. It is the 5/7 chord. It's just we're using the B instead of the D. Remember, in the 5/7 we can use either of those notes, and the B is played in the right hand, so it's fine. Okay, so you go put the hands together, and then go back on the treble spots. Get rid of the hesitations. Now we can think about the articulation. I'm hinging at the wrist for the staccatos. They're short. second line, second measure. The right hand comes up on beat 4. The left hand is already done because it played a staccato and it quit. So at the end, after the left hand's played, you still got a little more of the right hand to listen to. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and off. Don't lift them at the same time. No, that's not what's written. Let's hold the right hand down the full count. And that's pretty much the articulation throughout. Then the dynamics, as far as dynamics go, you're starting out moderately loud. Whatever you think sort of loud is. At the end of the line, you have a diminuendo to come down. We're going to come down to moderately soft. But that's going to be for the melody, which is the right hand. So I want this to blend into this here. And the left hand goes soft. I mean, it's got to go soft, real soft, because the right hand takes over, and the right hand's got the melody, and the right hand you do the stuff for the, and you hairpin to loud. You go back up to moderately loud. So don't get moderately loud until the dotted half note in the second line. The left hand stays in the background. Third line, they don't tell you to, but come back down to moderately soft and go back up. Don't start moderately loud and go up to loud. No, come back down, it's moderately soft in the third line. Last line, you're starting at moderately loud. They don't need the MF, you're moderately loud anyway, but they're being clear. Make sure you start at moderately loud, and you're going to go down to very soft at the end. I don't want to be very soft until the end, so I got to plan this out. I'm starting out moderately loud, and I'm going down to moderately soft here for the whole note. And the left hand is already soft, and as this dies away, because it's tied to the rest of it, the left hand, just try and follow that and stay under it. So I hear that A all the way through. So the dim multal is sort of built in, because that does that for you. And you follow that, listen to that in the left hand, try and stay under it. As it gets softer, you get softer. Diminuendo, dim, is gradually gets softer, and multal means a whole lot. So they're telling you get a whole lot softer, gradually. Well, they're telling you at the end go down to PP. All right. Don't really need the multal, I don't think, because they put in the PP. It tells me how soft to get. And then the speed. That's just somewhere in there, what that rhythm goes for, and the rest of it just goes along. Don't forget the natural accents. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Put in the feel the natural accents as you're doing this. There's no retardando. You don't slow down. Just keep it going and just gradually getting softer and softer. Let's play this together very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. I'm going to play it all about the same. I'll do the staccatos and slurs. You just want to make sure you have the right notes at the right time is what this is for. So I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, and 3, and go. And 1, and 2. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. rest, rest,